I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair." Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
Ozymandias is a poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley. The poem, or at least my interpretation of it is about the entropy or the decay of all things, no matter how immoral they might seem. The earth is littered with the ruins of empires that believed they were eternal. This poem and its ideas on entropy are a perfect metaphor for the game Outer Wilds. Developed by Mobius Digital, Outer Wilds puts you in the shoes of an astronaut, exploring the vast outer reaches of space. This game is an incredible experience. One moment you might be gawking at the sheer brilliance and beauty of the sun and the planets that circle around it. Another moment you might be terrified, watching as a giant typhoon slowly and surely creeps up into your tiny rock. Another you might feel nothing as you drift through space, oxygen slowly depleting and all hope for survival lost. What Outer Wilds most excels at is the depiction of entropy, the decay of all things. While exploring, you might find the ruins of an ancient civilization, now decayed beyond recognition. You might find mentions of ancient people, all with their hopes, dreams, and aspirations, all lost to the void of death. You might even come across the bones of these creatures. Their tragedy only you can observe. And indeed, one of the biggest indicators of entropy in the Outer Wilds is the sun. Given enough time exploring the ruins and exploring the worlds, the sun will collapse upon itself, exploding in a brilliant light, killing you and everyone caught in the blast. Entropy is at the core of the Outer Wilds gameplay. Just like the poem Ozymandias, the Outer Wilds argues that entropy is eternal and cannot be stopped. Even gods, even the sun, have their time to perish. But where the Outer Wilds might differ from Ozymandias is in its framing of entropy. While both pieces frame the decay of life as inevitable, the poem Ozymandias frames it in a more tragic light. The depiction of ruins in the poem is, in my interpretation, one depiction of tragedy, of lost opportunity, of despair. And while you might argue that the ruins in the Outer Wilds serve much the same purpose, I believe otherwise. The very fact that your astronaut character can explore these ruins, learn, educate themselves, and ultimately survive using this knowledge is, in a sense, an argument against the despair of entropy. Both works argue that entropy is the natural and inevitable course of life, but Ozymandias depicts entropy as an inherently negative and tragic thing, as evidenced by the buried ruins and civilizations that are implied in the poem. The Outer Wilds argues against this, saying that entropy is an inherently neutral thing, and the emotions and rhetoric that we give it are inherently based on circumstance. The existence of entropy in the Outer Wilds does not diminish the joy of discovery, the joy of learning, and the joy of discovery. The intrinsic neutrality of entropy is, in my belief, the argument that the Outer Wilds attempts to make. Either one of these interpretations are wrong. They are merely two intrinsically different outlooks. Regardless of your interpretations of either piece of media, we can all agree that any piece of art that gets you to ask these questions are incredible. Outer Wilds blew it out of the park. Mobius Digital should be incredibly proud of their work, and I believe that any piece of media that gets us to ask these inherent human questions should be celebrated, Outer Wilds included.